Lashes. Balthazar let one of his walking carcasses lapse from his control. Let's ferry them back. Wait! By the Bone Lord. It's you! I thought I'd never see you again. I wanted to keep you for myself, but they shipped you away. You talk! And you are aware. How is that possible? Oh, but what an arresting voice you have. You're not supposed to be here, Special One. That's not right. But I don't want to damage you. You were my very first, after all. I learned everything about the parasites from you. I remember finding you close to death. Beaten black and blue on the floor of this sanctum. It must have been a few hours after the tadpole was placed in your skull. How you got here was a total mystery. But I stitched you up just enough to keep you alive, then placed you within your crib. I kept you as mine, until you were needed by our superiors. We had such a close bond. I opened you up endlessly with my scalpels, and got lost in your insides. The most important work, the nature of which I only heard whispers. Truthfully, I'm not surprised to see you found your way back here all by yourself. I always knew you were clever. It has never been the same with another. All the other victims who come here just meekly obey. You thrashed. You fought. You were indomitable. But as special as you are, you shouldn't be swanning around here, acting as if free will is yours again. We're going to kill you, sweet one. But I promise I will stay with you afterwards. Lashes, bring this one back to my table. And prepare my knives for a long night of experiments.
She was but the hack doctor who half-pieced you together after whatever caused your head to get in this mess. Someone else must have attacked you in the midst of whatever you were doing down here. This necromancer was a grunt in the scheme of the horrors enacted against you. That attacker is the source. In the heart of all these membranes, there was a dagger awaiting you all along. But from who? The console glows as you approach, the mind still desperately yearning for connection.
Destiny, design,
Your tadpole echoes, not with presence, but memory, tinged with loss.
the grand design, order, perfection, unity, every plane as one, every being in their place.
That loss blooms into a sudden fury, burying claws in your mind.
Taken, corrupted, gone.
And just as suddenly, pain and memory are gone, leaving only stone once more. No longer a background murmur, the presence in your mind builds to a roar.
We found it. The Absolute is behind this door.
You said it was under control. It isn't you I answer to, Gortash.
Motherfucker! Gortash!
Oh, the general voice. Is this where we salute?
Salute, yes. With cleavers through his blood-starved flesh. How it crawls with failure. Like flies on lick-wet carrion.
You forget yourself, Orin. I have played my part.
You've built an army for our masters, true enough. But what of the astral prison? A rogue true soul flaunting it under your nose all this time. And you ran from her.
Sure that they would follow and deliver it into my hands here. If you would cease these distractions.
The distractions have been yours, Ketherick. Perhaps we never should have dug your daughter up. So you haven't lost your edge. But you're still not as sharp as Orin, I wager. The Slayer against the Undying One. That'd be fun to see.
His crypt breath sings to my sinews. Again, 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 again. But he must lead the murder march to Baldur's grave.
If the weapon is truly in your grasp, Ketherick, might I suggest closing your fist? Orin and I can wait for you no longer. The plan proceeds. We're going to the city, and we expect you to follow. Army and the weapon in tow.
The Edict of Bane!
The lash of Thor!
The Testament of Merkel!
An elder brain. One of the cruelest and most powerful creatures in existence. Enslaved by mere mortals.
There we are. It wouldn't do to fight in front of our guest. Behold, Duke Ravengard. The Absolute.
Whom preserve us?
You wag your word flap in vain, olderling. Once the worm holds the whip, your shredded flesh will serve us.
Now, it's really time we were going. We will empty this place and begin the march. You may catch up with the army once you've retrieved the weapon. And Ketherick, do try not to sulk. You're supposed to be the fearsome general come to conquer the city. And I am the hero who will save it.
It is time, faithful ones. March on Baldur's Gate. We go to prepare the way!
There you are, as predicted. What is it, I wonder, that draws one toward death like a moth to light? You could have run away, absconded with the prism. The one thing that could prevent me from fulfilling my destiny. But the lure of one's destiny is irresistible, isn't it? Perhaps you hope to learn your place in history before you are erased from it. A bright flash of clarity before the snuffing out. Your place is to die so that I might finally live. Let us speak plainly. My Lord Merkel gave me the one thing I desired, the one thing no other god could grant me. My daughter's life returned. Her heart beating once more. For that, he asked that I serve as his chosen. Join Orin and Gortash to grow the cult of the Absolute, and then take control of it. He's never had a more devoted follower. I have fought great wars before, in the service of other gods and other powers. But for Merkel, I would condemn all of Faerun to death. You are all that stands between me and my destiny. And you have brought the prism here. I will kill you now. And then I will raise you as my servant. Yes. Join the army of the dead, true soul. Witness Lord Merkel's glory. What a fool you are. You cannot kill me. I am eternal. Merkel, Lord of Bones, I am here. I am ready. I am yours.
You dare end one who belongs to me. I am the smile of the world-cleansed skull. I am the regrets of those who remain, and the restlessness of those who are gone. I am the haunt of mausoleums, the god of graves and age, of dust and dusk. I am Merkel, Lord of Bones, and you have slain my chosen. But it is no matter, for I am death, and I am not the end. I am the beginning.
Shit.
In death, the body is cooling. That energy radiates from the stone.
Remarkable. Truly. Now the picture comes together. The Absolute is neither god nor man. It is the Elder Brain you saw, held here by those three against its will. The crown it wears controls it, and these stones control the crown. It has been dominated. To master an Elder Brain, to subdue it, our enemies are formidable. One of them I know, Lord Enver Gortash, an arms dealer and a slaver, a worshipper of Bane, a god of tyranny. The other is a mystery to me, but the way she spoke, it's most likely she follows Baal, the god of murder. Ketheric was a follower of Merkel, which means the Absolute is a front for the gods of death, and our enemies are the chosen of the Dead Three. The crown's markings suggest it was forged in Netheril, an ancient empire whose mastery over magic rivaled that of the gods. It is a crown of domination, The stones were taken from its crest. They are nether stones, imbued with the ability to control the wearer of the crown. The crown's netherese magic must be the true source of the parasite's abilities. This must be what elevates their potential. And it must be the reason nobody could heal you. If the crown can do this to the parasites, I dare not imagine what it is doing to the brain. Hope is a luxury for those who have a choice. This is the battle of our lives, and the lives of everyone in Faerun. The army of the Absolute is marching on Baldur's Gate. Within the city, an elder brain brimming with power, ready to turn everyone within its reach into mind flayers. All it needs is an order. An order the Death God's chosen are on the cusp of giving. We must wrest control of the brain from the Chosen before that happens. We must take their stones. Our chances of success are slim, but we must not fail. If we fail, everything ends. I will be your shield, but you must be the sword. And when the chance to strike comes, you must take it. For there may only be one chance.
Didn't you? What the fuck was he doing down there? Is all of this because of him? The tadpole, the Absolute. How? I'd never have protected a Bainite even a decade ago. I looked after that fucker with my life. I trusted him. He gave me away to Zariel without a second thought. And now he's looking to ruin the entire Sword Coast. He has to die. And I'm gonna be the one who kills him! He can't get away with what he's done. To me. To us. He won't get away with it.
Thy hunger denied. Seluna's faithful yet shines. The balance shifts. Thou hast seen with thine own eyes and felt in thine urges. The dead three unite. There are depths to this alliance yet unplumbed. Consider, mortal. Do illithids possess souls? Thou shalt think about it now, and I shall give the answer. Mind flayers are soulless. Yet, the three amass an illithid army void of apostolic souls that could imbue them with power. A flock without souls, yet to what end, O tempted one? This is the question thou must come to answer. Until such time, be availed of my services. Nothing thou dost not already know. Where matters of balance are concerned, I am eternally cold. Yes, Bane, Lord of Darkness, Baal, Lord of Murder, Merkel, Lord of Bones. Once judged, ascended, then vanquished as one, and as three. The alliance is reforged, mortal. The plains thus quake, and the gods shudder.
Our enemies spread like rub rot. Treat one patch, and two more bloom in its place. An elder brain bound by lost Netherese magic, with servants of the Dead Three holding the chain. Reminds me of old times. Extensively. Mind flayers, too. And I never dreamed of seeing gods and Illithids working in consort. It is most disturbing. But take courage. We have killed a man who could not die, and stripped the Absolute's army of its general. You have a nether stone, and you're on the scent of 2 more. These Chosen have reason to fear you, and I would like to be at your side when you confront them. Glad to be there. Falling foul of Ketheric convinced me that my grand adventures were behind me. That even if I survived, I should hang up my blades. But you convinced me otherwise. We ventured into darkness together. Now we've come out the other side. I'd say I'm feeling a little refreshed. When we reach Baldur's Gate, there will be even darker paths to tread. I will follow you wherever they lead. How does it compare to a shadow-cursed inn? With the Absolute's army gone, the Risen Road should be clear. We can follow it all the way to Baldur's Gate. There's a Harper's safe house in Worm's Crossing. Denthalen's Dancing Axe. We do well to check in with them before entering the city proper. Beyond that, our course is yours to set. I can recall how to take orders, as well as give them.
Aelin! Isabel! My love. You were dead. I saw your body. I'm here. And so are you. And my father, he can't hurt us any longer. I dreamt every night that you'd come back to me. That somehow it was all a nightmare Dawn would undo.
I had no dreams at all. Nothing but darkness. And when I woke, my father said you were dead.
His soul was poisoned by the god of death. His sick devotion ruined him. But for all his sins, he brought you back to me. Are you all right?
I will be. And you?
In this moment, I want for nothing.
Ah, there you are. This is Aelin. Aelin, this is...
Oh, but we have met. This is the soldier that freed me most valiantly from the Shadowfell. They watched my boot crush the very brain of villainy, and fought well against your changed father.
May he rest in peace at last, now that he's dead. I have more to thank you for than I knew. And we have much to discuss. Perhaps we could join you in your camp later? I am. And I'm glad he's dead. But this is precisely what I want to speak to you about later. It'll keep. I promise. Very good. We look forward to it.
Now, you will leave us. We must take succor in one another's bodies and words.
Aelin! We'll see you later.
Daniel still suffers. There'll be no improvement until his essence is restored, I fear. Gladly. Let's put an end to this, once and for all.
Well done putting Ketheric in his place. Couldn't have done it better myself.
You did it! You squished Maul said you couldn't. Now you've won, can we go home? Matter says it's not far, and I'm tired.
Any word on Nathaniel? And the curse? Sorry, I didn't mean... I'm just worried. Please. I don't know how much longer Nathaniel can last in the Shadowfell. Help him. And hurry.
Moonrise has been cleansed. Baldur's Gate is next.
There you are. I was wondering where the devil you'd been. That sounds slimy. Never mind your distasteful predilections. We need to talk about Wulbren. Oh, forget about that. Wulbren and the Iron Hand gnomes are planning something dreadful in the city. They have room powder, they have motive. We have to stop them. Because they're a gaggle of vindictive crybabies with no sense of propriety. That is to say, they gabbed about their plans like a geese, and I overheard them. Like a very devious goose. Knowing when to ask for help is a sign of wisdom, not weakness. You helped me in this god's awful quagmire. When we're back in the city, I'll be fully in my element once more. To saving the city. And my fool of a friend.
I owe you an apology. In a sense, yes. But that's because I didn't know what you were capable of. I saw you as a means to escape, nothing more. But when the sky lit up, when I followed it here, I knew you were behind it. I apologize for not seeing your true worth, and for being, quite frankly, rude in Last Light. Tough, but fair. And that's precisely why I want you by my side in Baldur's Gate. The Iron Hand gnomes are going to save the city, and you can be part of it.
You see a column of fire that dominates the sky in a blazing inferno. Nothing more.
The plan is what it's always been. To bring the work and innovations of the Iron Hand gnomes to every corner of the realm. Problem is, Baldur's Gate is sick. Once the pinnacle of greatness, it's eating itself alive to save itself from starving. Find me in the city. And once you see what it's become, you'll know that I, and I alone, can stop it.
Gods be damned. With that parasite in his brain, Father could wreak untold havoc in the Absolute's name. Should Baldur's Gate fall to the Absolute, every one of the coast cities will be ripe for the plucking. We're not just fighting for our cure. We're fighting for my father. We're fighting for the Gate. We're fighting for all of Faerun. I could never be so disloyal to Baldur's Gate. I was 17. Father, older Ravengard, had just been named a Grand Duke and was called away to Elturel to help settle a dispute. That's when the Cult of the Dragon made its move.
The Cult of the Dragon, a fractured religion. Some believers hold that undead dragons will inherit the world. Others worship the dragon goddess Tiamat and intend to summon her to Faerun.
A 10 day after Father left, I heard a whisper as I slept. Duskhawk Hill. The Queen of Chaos awakens. Go alone. I grabbed a rapier and set out. There wasn't a cloud in the sky, yet not a single star was shining. There they were, gathered at the foot of the hill.
Your head tingles. Will wants to show you what happened. In the looming shadow of the mount, 5 groups of 5 figures each encircle a lofty totem. Atop each totem, a dragon's head is carved, and a massive orb held in its mouth. The cultists chant, first softly, then crying to the starless sky. There is a crack of thunder, a gust of wind, and a dragon's white head appears in the storm. The first of Tiamat's 5 heads. As the maelstrom howls, Mizura's lips press to your ear. She will destroy Baldur's Gate. Grant me your soul, and I will give you the power to save it, she whispers.
She read the terms while 2 devils stood witness, and I said yes. 1 soul for 1 city. She didn't. She came on order of her mistress, Zariel. Tiamat made a play for power. Zariel had other plans. That was the most Mizura's ever said. All that mattered was that she got her prize. Another pet added to her warlock menagerie. I don't know that it was brave. I just know that it was right. The moment I agreed, I burned with the fires of Avernus and oozed the rot of Dis. The cultists choked on our poisons and burned from our flames. And when we were done, all that remained were 5 grayed orbs atop a pile of ash. My soul was bound, and my lips were sealed. He returned to an unsuspecting city and a wayward son with a smirking devil at his side. I tried to tell him the truth, but my mouth couldn't form the words. I'd led him to the battlefield, but Mizura had swept it clean. After, he said only 1 word. Go. So I did. It is the one scar I ever bore of it. Mizura replaced it with a sending stone. She uses it to track my location and speak from a distance. I could flee to the spine of the world, or the depths of the lower dark, and still never shake her. I don't know that it was brave. I just know that it was right.
What do you know about me? You spoke of my past, being chased by wolves. I told no one about that. Almost no one. But I certainly didn't share that with you.
There is nothing I can tell you that you do not already know yourself. They trained you well, trained you hard. Chiseled away any part of you that did not fit their plan. They made you forget.
I chose to do that. For the mission to protect Shaz.
Secrets. Yes, yes, that is an old song, girl. Your goddess cares more for her precious secrets than she does her devotees.
Get to the point.
When you freed me, you severed a bond between me and that dog, Thorm. A bond of pain. His, inflicted on me. When I laid eyes on you, I sensed a similar bond. You, tethered to 2 others. Someplace distant. Let me help you remember.
You feel Shadowheart's mind tug at the edges of your own. You know this sensation. She wants you to see whatever is about to be revealed. Your mind joins with Shadowheart's. Something pulls at you both, bringing you elsewhere. Something sparks in your memory. Teachings about Selûnite rites of passage, about how they would abandon their children out in the wilds and force them to find their way home. It seems that one child never came back. She was taken.
What? Who was that man?
You already know. Did you not see yourself in him? Do you not recognize your own blood?
My father. That was him.
That is him. He lives still. And your mother, too.
No. It can't be. I'm an orphan.
And who told you that? Your adoptive family? You are not to blame. You were young, impressionable. They took you because they wanted to break and remake you. But you are a child no longer. You are a woman. One who knows what must be done.
My parents. I need to save them. I don't know.
Your parents both followed the Moon Maiden. I could sense their faith, even in a brief glimpse of the past.
It is a tragedy that the Moon Maiden's right was perverted by Shah. Your future was stolen from you.
Your parents are with your abductors. You will need to return to their lair. But be warned. You may have once thought of them as comrades, mentors, friends, even lovers. They will all be enemies now. You have been forewarned for what is to come, but not yet forearmed. It no longer has the power to harm me, now that I've removed it from Shah's domain. Shah is quick to discard whatever she has no use for. I think you know that well enough, but I felt it call to me as I took flight. Whatever Shah calls her own, Selûne has equal claim to. They are one and the same. Their power is matched and mirrored. Take it. You will find it useful. What you do with it, that will be up to you. Same as before.
I'll need every advantage, it seems. Thank you.
A debt repaid. You returned my life unto me. Now go and claim your own.
It hurts.
Shah torments you still. What a spiteful creature she is. This will not stop until you take action. See that your parents' sacrifices are not in vain. Allow the Moon Maiden to guide you at last. There you are. I have awaited your arrival with great anticipation. Come closer. Feel my voice rattle your bones as I proclaim our victory. Moon Maiden Selûne, hear me. Ketheric Thorm, traitor, apostle of Myrkul, is dead at last. My mate, Most High. Darling Isabel is safe and well. Safe and well, and return to my embrace. Blessings upon the Slayer of the Wicked One. We are a powerful party indeed. Faerun itself trembles at our touch. My darling Isabel says we will stay allied at your side. I am pleased to hear it. I am free from my bonds, but not my duty. The dead 3 are risen. The dead 2 remain. You must face them. I will help. Pray, ask, and I will tell. Do I not radiate with my mother's brightness, her glory? There can be no doubt. I am of her silvered flesh, her celestial womb. A century of it, by now. I loved her from the moment I beheld her sweet face. Her great, wise eyes. Her father Ketheric never did trust me. He did not fancy an immortal for his daughter's paramour. When she died, curse the day, the hour. We each of us mourned bitterly. But Ketheric's pain could be touched by no aid, no boundary. He turned to wretched Shah, the Lady of Loss, for relief. And she whispered into his ear, poisoning his mind. He and his loathsome advisor, Balthazar, lured me into the Shadowfell, claimed they'd found someone in need of my aid. There, they trapped me in their infernal cage. I was killed, murdered, made dead over and over and over by justiciars of every make and kind. I was reborn, for it is my nature. And Ketheric fed upon my immortality all the while. But lo, the brute is dead, and we live! Why, she already has. She has brought her sword to your side, Dame Aelin. So mighty are her wonders, her great wisdom. Together, we will set this fair land free of tyranny and murder.
I can't believe it. I can't believe Aelin is here. And my father. I heard what happened. What he'd become. By killing him. You set him free. You set Aelin free. And me. A great deal. But still, some of the details elude me. Ketheric Thorm was my father. He raised me to serve Selûne as my mother, rest her soul, had wished. He was everything to me, all my life. When an emissary of Selûne came to our little town, we were elated. Dame Aelin, daughter of the Moon Maiden herself. Tell me, do you believe in love at first sight? That's exactly it. And I tell you, I took one look at her and I just knew. She was it. Lucky for me, she felt the same way. But my father was skeptical. Aelin is immortal, after all. I understand it's strange. There's an imbalance between us, certainly. But I suppose loving Aelin felt the same as loving myself. It was natural. Then... And this is where I still need answers. I died. I'm not sure how, why, but all was black. Next I knew, I was being jolted awake. I smelled musty air, I saw shadows. And then my father's face. So changed. So hideously warped. And a monster he'd become. A Mercolite. I didn't know that then. But I could see the change in him. He told me we'd be together now. Said that Aelin was dead. I couldn't speak. Could only run. I found last light within the shadows. Made a shelter there. Prayed my father wouldn't find me. By the time Jaheira came, I'd pieced together just enough to know I'd been dead 100 years. That my father was the source of the horrors plaguing this land. my home. I couldn't tell her who I was. I had to protect them. And myself. No matter what. It's all out in the open now. And with my father dead, I have nothing to fear. Except for Aelin. She needs healing. Rest. I'm grateful for your help. Your friendship. I hope we won't intrude on your hospitality too long. But I'm grateful for a safe place to... well... just to be.
So, it's a quest to free Shadowheart's parents, is it? And here I was, worried I'd be the only one with a difficult family reunion waiting in the city. I was just wondering when you'd invite me back for a bite.
Shadowheart was no true child of Shah, merely a captive. She must have her vengeance.
Taken from the light to be raised in darkness. Your truth is finally dawning, Shadowheart. You can follow its light, or you can retreat back into dusk. The truth is finally dawning. Shadowheart can follow its light, or she can retreat back into dusk. Orin, I'd never heard tell of, but Gortash I know. Or know of, more precisely. A self-styled strategic advisor to Baldur's Gate's peers. A bit player with dreams of a leading role, the way Father told it. He had no use for Gortash, and even less for his advice. I don't remember much beyond that. But where these Chosen are concerned, I have a suspicion we're about to know more than we'd like. No, never. He did the only thing he could. In his eyes, I invited a devil into our midst. I was a fool at best, a traitor at worst, and Grand Duke Ravengard suffers neither. Resentment is a poison on one's heart. The only way to avoid damage is to pour it out. And I went and proved him right. A Grand Duke's duty is to his city, first and foremost. There would only ever be one outcome. Worm's Rock Fortress. All travelers to Baldur's Gate flow through it. It serves as headquarters for the Flaming Fist, and their commander, my father. The Absolute's army's on the march. Gods forbid a tadpole Grand Duke throw open the gates for them.
Poor Shadowheart. She's been jerked around so much. I want to believe the gods keep this world balanced, but sometimes I wonder.
I would not linger in this land over long. But whatever your business, I will aid you if I can.
Daniel still suffers. There'll be no improvement until his essence is restored, I fear. In truth, I'm not sure. This is beyond all reckoning. It's still part of Thaniel deep down, but it may not recognize that, or want to recognize that. Perhaps it can be reasoned with, but I'm not hopeful. Reason is not something that thrives amidst the Shadow Curse.
I guess I can take care of myself. I mean, I've gotten this far.
At least Shadowheart is armed with the truth now. May its keen edge draw forth whatever vengeance she desires.
What's on your mind? He got his claws into me early. I was a wild kid, brawling my way through the city. One of my mates got wind of a bit of work guarding some indoorsy type with lots of enemies. Seemed like easy money, so I went in for it. He took one look at me and said I was perfect. I like that. Not like that, you know. Just... it felt like a good fit. I kept him safe, and he paid me well. Well enough to move my folks into a better neighborhood and put something away for the future. My future. I respected him. Trusted him. And he returned that trust, that respect.
His life was in my hands, and I took that seriously. The whole thing with Zariel happened so fast. I had no idea what had gone down until it was over. One minute I was in Baldur's Gate, a happy, healthy, not quite kid. The next, I was burning up in Avernus with an engine for a heart. Zariel laughed. Said she paid him well for my services. She'd wanted to test her new machine, and he said I'd be able to handle it. He was right. Sometimes I wish he weren't. Evil, evil bastard.
Scratch's tail wags furiously. These two have become firm friends. Nothing. Both animals look fine, watching you expectantly.
I've been lied to. My whole life. And I was gullible enough to just believe it. My parents are alive, and I have to save them. I think a part of me always knew that. A part that Shah denied to me. Indeed. But the truth may yet prove painful. Who knows what Shah still keeps from me? We'd better press on for now, and hope we're ready when the moment comes. But before that, there's one thing I need to see to. You'll see for yourself soon enough. Just leave it with me.
Thanks to you. You did well to defeat Ketheric. But Ketheric was only the first to fall. There are many more battles ahead. They will not be so easily won. You will need allies. Whatever you might do to one cannot be worse than what the Chosen will unleash on all. And you are the one who could prevent it. You have the makings of a leader. Your actions have already inspired those around you. Jaheira's wisdom will be an asset to you on the journey ahead. Her Harper's too. But if we are to succeed, we will need others. Good. I am glad to hear that. Baldur's Gate may not know it yet, but its fate is bound to ours. Seek on its streets those whose purpose aligns with our own, and invite them to our cause. Together, we will put an end to the Absolute, the Chosen, all.
Boo! I scared you! I saw it! Didn't seek.
That's him. Like an echo of Thaniel, remolded by the curse. We need him if we're to put a stop to all of this.
Will you play with me? Spoil sport.
I'm not going back. I like it here. I've made a family for myself. I get to play all the time. Yes, I do. You can't make me do anything. I don't want to play with you anymore.
That little bastard. Where'd he go?
Why couldn't you just leave me alone? Why can't I just stay here, playing? I had everything I've ever wanted, right here! And you've ruined it. I'm not leaving. You can't make me.
Be gentle. He's much more than a child. But he doesn't truly know that. It shall be done. Oliver, nobody is making you leave. This is your home. But it is dark, empty, lonely. I don't want you to be alone. I want you to be with Thaniel.
Why should I go back to him? He abandoned me.
No, you were stolen from each other. Neither of you are to blame. And I know your pain. I truly do. Thaniel was my friend also. I played with him, grew up while he stayed the same. He made me who I am today. And then he was ripped away from me. Same as for you. But you need not be alone any longer. You need not invent friends. Thaniel is back. He is waiting for you.
Fine. I'll do it. It might be nice to be with him again. Bye. And thank you for playing with me.
It's done, at last. Soon the land will be unshrouded. We should return to Thaniel when we can. It is done. Now Thaniel will be whole again. I could not have done this without you, my friend. We should return to camp when we can. I must see how Thaniel is faring. With the Oak Father's blessing, the Shadow Curse may soon be no more.
You did it. Catherick Thorm is no more. The Shadow's grip is broken. Soon, the land shall heal. Not as glad as I am. Nature moves at its own pace, and bestows its bounty when it sees fit. Give it time. A reward shall come to you, when you need it most. Your path leads away from me, I sense. Be safe. Perhaps one day you will see the fruits that your victory has sown here.
Thaniel rests well. He's healing very rapidly, now that Oliver has returned to him. No more than my right hand can absorb my left. Oliver is helping Thaniel to recover. They both lie dormant, like trees awaiting spring. Once the curse is lifted, they can stand as one or as a pair. Whatever they wish. I hope they will remain as a pair. It will be good for them both to have a friend, once I'm gone. Still, I would like to return here someday. See Thaniel and Oliver again. In my meditations, or perhaps in person, if the Oak Father wills it. I hope he does. I have. But perhaps there is more that I want. Anyway, once the curse is lifted, nature can take its course without me. I belong at your side. And I'm glad to be had. Glad to be with you, I mean. I can't say for certain, but We'll see it come to pass long before this place recedes behind us. Don't worry. All is at hand. We can depart whenever you're ready. I knew I could put my faith in you. If only we had met sooner.
I think we've done rather a good thing here. A welcome change to gift this land a sliver of hope amongst so much despair.
I never saw myself as a banisher of shadows before. I was always more of a lurker-in, historically.
These lands will soon be free of Shah's grasp. You can almost sense it. If I was a bard, I might be tempted to draw comparisons between nature and myself both shaking off Shah. But luckily for you, I'm no bard.
Wish we could stay and see what this place will be like without the shadows. I bet it's beautiful. No rest for the wicked, huh?
Shadows are lifted. Finally, we can breathe free.
The curse is broken and the shadows are lifting. In time, these lands will heal.
Good evening. I'm here on behalf of Gale of Waterdeep. He wishes to extend you an invitation for a private conversation in a more suitable locale. Gladly. Simply follow yonder path, and soon you will find him.
I love this time of night. There's an almost reverent silence that accompanies the peak of darkness, when you'd almost believe the dawn will never break. The cradle of eternity. The timelessness of lovers. That most beautiful of fantasies. Indeed. The curse is still present, of course. Just veiled and at arm's length for now. Not a trick I can repeat often, but tonight is different. This may be my last night alive. I wanted it to be under a canopy of beauty and wonder. I thought this place might bring me peace. I thought it might make the weight of what I must do feel a little lighter. But I'm not so sure. Babe or crone, coward or hero, death is assured. Mistra's forgiveness is not. If you knew the end was near, would you not want to ensure it had meaning? I am terrified. I will not claim otherwise. My face could scarcely conceal it, even if my words sought to deny it. There is no point in running from the inevitable. Better to meet it on my own terms. I can feel it. Ever since we set foot in this strange, corrupted land. The closer we get, the heavier my own heart becomes. Stay with me a while, will you? Day will come all too soon, even in this place. Heartening words. If only they came from the lips of another. This is no time for delusion. We are not close, you and I. But it will not matter soon enough. Let us just enjoy the view, in silence. We will leave the world a better place than it is tonight. I was hoping to speak to you, as a matter of fact, about the night you were kind enough to keep this melancholy wizard company. I wanted to thank you. I was sinking into a dark place, but you reminded me there is still light in the world, if I should care to look for it. You may well have prevented me from doing something very rash in the near future. I count myself lucky to call you a friend. Careful. I may just take you up on that.
Narrow crack in the wall, you hear something shift against stone. The pulse of a crawling, living thing. You can't quite catch a glimpse, but you recognize this feeling. The same alien presence you felt on the Nautiloid. Your awareness unfolds, expanding through every wall in the tower, every mind. A vast living network extending down into the dark, where something wakes.
God, what is it? What now?
It's a trap.
Tendrils snap like iron cords around your wrist. That presence in your mind looms large, closer now. The tendrils tighten, and suddenly you are elsewhere. The presence is no longer approaching you, but encircling you, observing you. A pause, as if it struggles to compress its vast being down into terms you can understand.
This is the voice they have given me. To better speak to your kind without breaking you. I was once a servant of the grand design. Now I'm a slave to theirs. But you were the jeweled hope for their design. But now, you are their flaw. You abandoned me. You left me the slave of the puny chosen. Used to bind this world. But I cannot Come to me, so I can become myself again.
A world away, the grip on you tightens. A desperate, drowning thing that pulls you down with it.
Hello? Hey! Snap out of it!
You're free. The Absolute must be keen to meet us.
This pod has a different air to its chitinous cavern. Dust and dirt are gathered on the inside. It's broken beyond repair, seemingly by a blunt impact, as if whoever was inside threw themselves against it in an effort to break out. Your brain hurls an image towards you, your own head, blood gushing down in front of your eyes. Banging your fists on a chamber until half your fingers were broken. How long inside? Days? Months? Lifetimes? The parasite was inserted into your head and your body crammed into a pod long before you were moved to the Nautiloid. A laughing woman, taunting you. She betrayed you. Who was she? The curse has been lifted, the land's cleansed of the shadows. Kethric's reign of living death is over. Your courage has been tested, and in this at least, you have triumphed.
Sergeant, if you are here, I presume Wern's Rock is secure, and preparations for my inauguration are complete.
No, Lord Gortash. We were interrupted. Another quake in the lower city. More severe this time.
So you came cowering to my chambers? I'm flattered, Sergeant. But even I cannot command natural phenomena to cease.
Forgive me, my lord, but there is panic in the streets. The people are afraid.
Perhaps the people would be calm if you kept your nerve. I expect better from the flaming fist than to run scared from a slight tremor in the earth. Get back to your duties.
Duties, duties, duties. Patrolling and saluting and following and bowing and scraping and yes sir, no sir, rip and cut your throat, sir.
Your plan is falling apart, lordling. Give me a reason not to cut you to ribbons.
Control yourself, Orin. We need to focus on reuniting the stones or the brain will break free. These quakes are just the start. Neither of us expected the prism bearers to kill Ketheric. They'll be traveling to the city. Let's make sure we give them a Baldurian welcome.
My prodigal bloodkin is among them.
They live.
Barely. I made mince of their ugly mind matter. And if they dare return, I will strip out their offal.
Beyond the campsite, the city waits in uneasy silence, one sleep away.
Shadowheart has found a little bit of herself again. Selûne cannot take all of the credit. She may have lit the way, but it is the cleric who took this step. That speaks well of your taste. I've heard my share of bad ballads about things I never did. If you have questions, ask. Just don't expect my answers to rhyme. It was Baal alone we faced in our time. And bad as that was, he had no elder brain for a lapdog then. Help won't come from the history books, or from any old tales I can spin you. This is your story to write. There. Have I fulfilled my role as your wise and wizened elder? Don't tell me which. Against all life experience, I will choose to assume the best. Ask it. More than I would like. In my youth, I was a brief and very much unwilling member of a colony's hive mind. I felt the way they think, saw the world as they do. Foul, unnatural creatures who find the foulness in us and twist it to their will. But then, who am I speaking to? You have far more experience than I. Then, greetings, Sir Tadpole. I was wondering where all the questions suddenly sprang from.
I wasn't expecting it, but I'm glad to have some company on this journey. Fine. What's on your mind? How are you holding up? Don't be so modest. I can't remember the last time I met someone like you. Perhaps I never did. And never will again.
Taken from the light to be raised in darkness. Your truth is finally dawning, Shadowheart. You can follow its light, or you can retreat back into dusk. The truth is finally dawning. Shadowheart can follow its light, or she can retreat back into dusk.
Shadowheart was no true child of Shah, merely a captive. She must have her vengeance.
Poor Shadowheart. She's been jerked around so much. I want to believe the gods keep this world balanced, but sometimes I wonder.
The gate is closed, as is Cazador. Cazador and his rite of profane ascension. An imperial soiree, attended by devils and spawn alike. A grand ceremony to honor one exalted vampiric master. And elevate him to an unfathomable station. To place him in a position of such esteem. The world will yearn to kneel and offer their necks. Of course I envy him. Why wouldn't I? The problem with what Cazador has done is that he did it to me. If the time comes and I can stay one move ahead of him, I'll take his place before his blood can hit the floor. What's a handful of the wretch's servants? If they're anything like me when I was enslaved, they're all but begging for death anyway. After 200 years of shit, pure shit! I think I deserve something better. All I'm saying is, let's be clever about it. If an opportunity arises for me to become a more magnificent bastard than I already am, why turn it down? Let's find out more about the ritual before we waltz into Cazador's front door. If we track down my old comrades, the other spawn, we may discover more and be finally positioned for yours truly to ascend. If we don't find my brethren, they'll find us, likely with bared fangs. We should get to them first. Then we can make their pretty tongues talk. Unless Cazadors change their orders, they'll be in the dens of this town, seeking prey.
I was supposed to sacrifice myself to stop the Absolute. Yeah, I don't think I could have gone through with it, in truth. And I'm glad that I didn't, given what has come to light. The Elder Brain. But, more importantly, the crown that it wore. Even without seeing it for myself, I could sense it. Netherese magic. So pure, so complete. And I doubted what I was feeling at first. Most Netherese artifacts contain only the faintest amount of their former power. The ghost of an echo of a memory. That crown was different. I can't fathom how such a wonder survived. Surely everything of its ilk was destroyed along with Netheril itself, but no matter. It exists. I must learn more of it. That crown sits on a gargantuan elder brain bent on destroying us and everything we hold dear. Understanding its true nature might unlock the means of our victory. We need to learn more about what we saw. An artifact as powerful as that crown must have been documented somewhere. As luck would have it, we'll soon find ourselves near one of the finest book collections this side of Candlekeep. Sorcerous Sundries. I need to go there and learn all I can. Book shopping? But yes, their collection of rare tomes is unparalleled. Netherese texts are hardly commonplace, but I'm certain they'll have one or two stashed away. You'll have to forgive my eagerness, but if my suspicions prove to hold water, this could be the answer to all our problems.
Painful truths have been thrust upon Shadowheart. I believe she is strong enough to endure, but her path will be easier with our support. Only by reputation. She was present when we marched against Ketheric Thorm, but on the far end of the battle lines from where I fought. And in the chaos that ensued, well, our forces were scattered. I led some to safety, but never learned of her fate. I'm glad to hear she survived. Though in truth, I should not be surprised. She was always said to be formidable and cunning. I could have learned much from her, no doubt. There is much to admire, judging by the stories. I cannot help but wonder how she would have handled some of the challenges I faced as Archdruid. Defended the Grove, Korga, the Shadow Druids. At least now we can benefit from her presence, and perhaps work to a common goal. What would you like to know?
I am?
Trust me, it's been said. You show more restraint than most in avoiding the subject until now. Who's to say? Perhaps there's a half-orc buried somewhere in my ancestry. Or perhaps not. Sometimes I think conventional wisdom is too narrow about what someone can or cannot be. Stranger things have most certainly happened. You're not a doppelganger, are you? Trying to study me to learn all my secrets so you can take my place? Save for me, my line perished a long time ago. They rest in High Forest now, near the shade of the Grandfather Tree. The Grove became my family, with Sylvanus as my teacher. And now I have you. It was a long time ago. The wounds don't heal, but they become more bearable. I'm 350 years old. Of course there have been lovers. Just because I love nature doesn't mean I'm betrothed to it. Though sometimes nature needs reminding. Well, I didn't pick this scar up in battle. I was in wild shape, only I forgot it was the season when bears are particularly social. A she-bear claimed me as her own and did not appreciate being spurned. Right now, I bed down alone, I'm afraid. Perhaps once I talk less of curses and parasites, my fortunes will improve. I suppose you wouldn't be shocked to learn I love animals and nature? I know. Well-trodden territory. Well then, let's see. I whittle in my spare time, and I've something of a sweet tooth. Although everyone's very amused when I say I like honey. Ornaments, utensils, and ducks. I like ducks. I like what I like. Once you get to my age, you realize there's little point in denying yourself, so long as others aren't affected. Thank me by returning the favor, why don't you? Come on. I'm sure you've something better than carving wooden ducks. Well, they are fierce creatures from what I understand. But as long as you avoid the high seas, I think you can consider yourself safe. I had a friend when I was young, long ago. He played with me in the forests where I grew up. But eventually, I realized no one else had heard of him. It was Thaniel, of course. Nature was my very first friend. I get older, but he hasn't changed a day. I knew then that I had to be more than a companion to him. I had to be a protector. Anytime. I've been unfair to you. I've had unrealistic expectations of your character ever since I joined you. But honestly, you've surpassed even those. Seems my faith was more than well-founded.
The events of the last days weigh heavily upon you. Sleep's rest is slow to come to one whose mind is so full. The Absolute is not a god, but an elder brain controlled by the chosen of the Dead Three. They mean to use it to take control of the Sword Coast. All who carry the tadpole are governed by the brain, and by extension the chosen. It will take but one order to transform them into an army of mind flayers. This would have been your fate too, were it not for the astral prison and the mysterious visitor inside of it. With his help, you have uncovered the cult for what it really is. A plan of conquest orchestrated by the gods of death themselves. Together, you have the power to thwart the Dead Three. If you follow this path to its end, the Elder Brain will not answer to the Chosen. It will answer to you. And what then? You are prone to impulses as uncontrollable as the gods themselves. Will you even have a say in what you do? Will you liberate the true souls from their parasites and their religious delusions? Or will you use the power you gain for your own purposes? Even as you utter the words to yourself, you know it is but an intention. And these dark desires of yours have little regard for your intentions. You will not have long to wait. All you need to do now is sleep. But sleep is not for you.
The reckoning is upon us! The city thirsts for domination. March! Join power.
We're under attack. Fight.
Gods, any moment now, that orb is going to explode.
Before you do anything, I am your ally. We are in danger.
Oh, shit. A mind flayer?
The Githyanki is the source of our protection against the Absolute. I must subdue him, or everything we've worked towards is lost. Don't let my form deceive you. I am the one that's been protecting you. I am the one that came to you in your dreams. Help me. The Honor Guard. Eliminate them. My forces are weakened by their assault, but with your help, we can turn this around. Destroy the Guard. I will subdue their master. Together, we can turn the tide. Thank you. That was too close. Don't look at me like that. I am a mind flayer. Yes. Without me, you would be a slave to the Absolute.
Of all the things to be indebted to, a bloody mind flayer.
You may call me the Emperor. An adventurer. I came from Baldur's Gate, though I was never one to be constrained by circumstance. I longed for more. That longing brought me to Moonrise Towers on a search for treasure.
To a colony of mind flayers who caught me, changed me into what I am now. For years, I served the Elder Brain. The one you know as the Absolute. I was a thrall like any other, but I was fortunate. I broke free and started a new life in my old city. I sustained myself on criminals. Unglamorous, but there are plenty of them, rarely missed. And they fueled me while I did my work. I had the good fortune to meet Duke Stelmane. We formed a partnership, and through her, I became the governing force behind the Knights of the Shield, the largest mercantile operation in Baldur's Gate. People referred to me as the Emperor. Such was my influence, though of course they had no idea what I really was. My needs were sated. I was happy for a while, until my true nature was discovered by the tyrant himself, Lord Gortash. He tore me from my home and brought me back to the Brain, where I became a slave once again. A slave he continued to call the Emperor. The name was intended as a slight, to remind me of the heights from which I fell. But I have grown fond of it. It encapsulates well who I've become. Indeed, his hubris knows no bounds. To enslave me, that was his nature. But to enslave an Elder Brain, a questionable decision. I shall look forward to sharing his downfall with you. Gortash sent me on a mission to retrieve the Astral Prism. I was one of many, but the first to find it. How Gortash or the other Chosen learned of its existence, I do not know. The moment I found it, I felt a change. My free will returning. I followed the feeling inside, and found the Githyanki. I realized what the prism was for. Containment. While my body was within the prism's bounds, my mind was free. I could resist the Elder Brain, the Chosen. Better yet, I could plan to overthrow them. All I needed to do was subdue the Githyanki, and find allies in the outer world. You. Prince Orpheus, son of the first leader of the Githyanki. His power has been the source of your continued protection against the voice of the Absolute. The power to disrupt hive mind communication. It is the same power that enabled Orpheus's mother to bring about the fall of the Illithid Empire eons ago. A power she passed on to him, and that I leveraged for you. When Orpheus's mother left, a usurper took her place. Vlaakith declared herself queen of the Githyanki. Vlaakith wanted his power, but Orpheus rose against her, and so she sealed him and his honor guard within this prism. Bound by infernal chains, Orpheus could never leave. Bound by duty, his guard never would. They were close to breaking my hold on that prince. And if they had succeeded, we would be lost. I am relieved. You have embraced your potential enough that you could help me eliminate them. Alone, Orpheus will be much easier to control. Most certainly Orpheus. He is a threat to her reign. Some Githyanki still revere him, in defiance of their teachings. Vlaakith was safe as long as they believed him to be dead. But as you can see, he is very much alive. She kept him this way because she was reluctant to eradicate such power. Power that she might one day wish to take from him. If the Githyanki ever find out what she has done, there will be civil war. Blackheath will be finished. There may come a time when that is necessary, but there is no guarantee that his power would survive his passing. The risk is too great. The moment his protection is gone, you would become enthralled to the Elder Brain, just as I would. We may look different, but to the Elder Brain we are already the same. Thralls in its design. I appreciate that, but this is what I am. My original body was destroyed when I transformed. When I first escaped the Elder Brain, I searched for a new vessel, but the longer I inhabited this one, the more it grew on me. I realized that returning to my former self would only impose limitations. Any advantage I could gain by restoring my original appearance, I already had to hand in the form of magic, and that humanoid shape you've come to know. As an Illithid, I have far surpassed who I ever was before. You, too, should embrace this change. I believe we'll have a better chance of defeating the Elder Brain if you embrace your latent Illithid potential. I've been studying you for a while now. I believe I can trigger the next stage of your tadpole's life cycle, while continuing to preserve your independence. You have seen what I can do. Imagine yourself with the same strength, the same intelligence, the same devastating beauty. If you let me, I can evolve you. The answer is twofold. One, I can, but it would kill you, as I told you before. Two, why would I? You have done well with the limited form you have, but you would do far better as an Illithid. So, do you wish to evolve or not? You will be able to do things you never thought were possible. There will be physical alterations, of course, but only partial. You will retain most of your current form, and you will soon see that the benefits outweigh any perceived loss.
Well, certainly brave of you. I'll say that much.
You continue to surprise me. Your mind is truly something special. Now, hold out your hand. It wants to evolve, but it cannot do so alone. It must commune with another.
A coldness seeps through your veins as the tadpole awakens, its yearning almost unbearable. Your mind is a veritable feast. The tadpole's essence courses through you. Where it touches, your flesh, glands, organs contract and flood with pure thought. You feel different. Your body has never felt more connected. Your mind present in every flex of a joint or muscle.
You are exquisite. When your allies see what you can do, I hope you encourage them to try it for themselves. But we mustn't lose focus. We need to resume our journey. You heard the Chosen. The Brain has gone to the city, and the army marches to follow. We must not let them reach it. We must find the brain and bring it under our control.
Hey, you. You really did it, huh? Not worried about adding more illithid into the mix? Well, what can I say? You look fine, smell fine, seem fine. And yet, you're more mind flayer than ever. Hope you don't expect me to follow your lead in this. Good. And you know, keep an eye on yourself. If you start feeling loopy, shout. We don't know what these tadpoles are capable of.
So, there's been a mind flayer inside the artifact, or astral prism, the whole time we've had it. Sounds like utter madness, even though I've seen it with my own eyes. The more I learn, the less I understand just why I was sent to retrieve that thing. But it matters little now. I do not serve Shah anymore, nor the Mother Superior. The prism is no longer my mission. Saving my parents is. But I digress. Did you want something? On one hand, they seem useful. But on the other hand, or perhaps tentacle before long, we know where they're coming from, and what lies at the end of that path. I never expected ceramorphosis to be tempting. I think we should resist these powers. There's simply too many unknowns for us to risk it. And some might say eels and turnips boiled in milk is a delicacy. But some are fools. I'll make my own mind up. More likely it would just put a stop to us. I wanted nothing to do with those illithid powers before. What makes you think I'd want to jump into an even deeper hole? Do you know what this entails? Well, of course you do. But I don't want that for myself.
By Balduran's bones, this is a lot to take in. Let's see if I've got this right. 1, we've been carrying a mind flayer around with us this whole time. 2, it's been appearing as someone else in our dreams, cajoling us to embrace our new illithid talents. 3, the mind flayer's been siphoning a Githyanki prisoner's powers to shield us from the Absolute's voice. Did I miss anything? How could I forget? One of Baldur's Gate's most distinguished figures, a mind flayer's ally. Sensational tales, aren't they? Almost unbelievable. With a narrator so unreliable, how do we tell fact from fiction? I can't pretend I have the answer, but I know the Illithid's right about one thing. It holds our fates in its talons. Until the Absolute falls, there's no getting rid of it. I think that unknowable powers come with unknowable consequences. I can't say I'm not curious. But once you take an illithid by the talon, there's no telling how deep into the abyss it might drag you. All right. Anything more we should discuss?
Gods, Shadowheart looks like a stack of gold. Never thought I could get so excited about someone's forehead, but here we are.
When I first met you, saving yourself from ceramorphosis was your greatest wish. And yet now, you've stepped closer to embracing it. I trust your leadership and respect your decisions, but I truly hope this is not something we come to regret.
There's no more radiant sight than that of someone who's learned to love themselves anew. Shadowed in name, but no longer in spirit. It suits her.
can only imagine what I could do were I to adopt the biology of a mind flayer. Certainly doesn't seem to have done you any harm. Or rather, you've not yet done me any harm. Still, there are undoubtedly risks to such a transformation.
Oh, we have a new look for a new Shadowheart. Nice as it is, she still doesn't have the best hair in the camp. Don't look at me like that. I know what you're going to say. The answer is no. No. That was before I knew the cost. Before I knew it meant transforming into some grotesque beast. I remember how it hurt when I turned into a vampire. My body writhed and warped while I was utterly helpless. The grip of death owned my heart as it beat its last. I don't want to turn into anything else. I can't do that again. I can't watch my body be taken over. I had nothing for so long. Nothing. Not even my own body. I will not give it up. Now it's mine again.
Camp life seems to suit the young owlbear. His coat of feathers seems fuller. His eyes look bright and
Be honest. What do you think of the new look? Well, I'm glad someone does. Perhaps I'll get used to it. I have a lot to get used to right now.
Love Shadowheart's new look. Softer, less severe. It suits her.
Your parasite communes with Lae'zel's. Her heart races as she learns of the events inside the astral prism.
Orpheus, Gith's only son. He lives. It is not the Geich visitor that Vlaakith would destroy and Voss would set free. It is Orpheus, the blood of the mother, the prince of the comet. And even more powerful still. It said he could bring 1,000 Githyanki to their knees with one command. Listen close. The Emperor spoke only in half-truths. For you to know the tale of Orpheus, you must know the tale of Gith and of Vlaakith. Long ago, when we rose up against our Geich slavers, Mother Gith made for the Hells to secure an alliance with the Archdevil Tiamat. Tiamat gifted the Githyanki our red dragons. Gith remained in the Hells, and Tiamat's envoy proclaimed Vlaakith our ruler. The first Vlaakith of many. It is Vlaakith 157 whom my people now call Queen. Our current Vlaakith has claimed undeath and reigned for 1,000 years. But it was the first whom Orpheus tried to slay. Orpheus is Gith's only son. He led his mother's own honor guard in a coup against Vlaakith I. It was Kithrak Voss himself who slayed the prince in vicious battle. Or so the Varshas teach us. Yet the Prince of the Comet's been with us, subdued by that repugnant Illithid. Should Orpheus go free, he would tear Vlaakith's empire to pieces and build new glory from the scraps. We meet Voss in the city, and we obtain the key to freeing Orpheus from his prison. Every word Voss spoke, he spoke true. Orpheus is the living proof of the Queen's lies, and the living weapon that conquered our Geich slavers. One word from his lips, and the people would doubt. 2 words, and they would rage. 3 words, and they would bow to the true heir. If the Githyanki are to be free, the Prince of the Comet must lead the way. Inconceivable that we would seek release from one tadpole only for you to commune with another. I chide you if my mind were not consumed by the sight of Orpheus within his domed prison. The Prince of the Comet lives, but make no mistake. I can see the change in you, feel the parasite worming its way through you even further. You have invited your own misery. I will not break our alliance for it, but I will not condone it. Something is different about Shadowheart. New facial creases, perhaps. A fresh battle scar I hadn't noticed. Bah, it eludes me.
Hey. Yeah. I had the same thought. So much has happened between then and now. Maybe we just got a little caught up in it all. But I'm not going anywhere. I've got plans for the future, you know, and they involve you.
Incredible to be back. My home. My city. Baldur's Gate is where I first raised a glass in toast at the tender age of 14 and got so tipsy from wine, I puked in Dillard Portier's bushes. It's where the flaming fist chased me after I'd stolen a peach from a cart in the Wide. I got a good chewing out over it too. It's where my father taught me to hold a rapier, to read books of law, to know right from wrong. It's been 7 years since I left. It's no paradise, but it's home. And it's worth saving. And you? The city's yours too, after all. How's it feel to be back? No one knows better than I do the deep shadows haunting Baldur's Gate. But I also know you can find the light if you know where to look. And this I promise, you can always look to me.
Soldier, this is it. We're almost to the city. First through Worm's Crossing, then on to the lower city. Oh, it smells the exact same. 10 years on, but still home. Incredible.
Worm's Crossing. We could be inside the city walls before long. And I could be back where this all started. I hope so. So long as I'm willing to stroll right into the Mother Superior's trap, they have no reason to not tell me where to go. If by warm you perhaps mean a flaming arrow, I doubt they'll attack in public. No, I expect they'll point me in the right direction so I can face my reckoning away from prying eyes. Worm's Crossing is a choke point. If I wanted to intercept a new arrival, I'd find somewhere before the bridge, blend in amongst the crowds, and wait. Most people seeking entry to the city will be refugees. I'd look wherever they're gathering.
Excuse me, I can't find my mum. She was sick. She had spots on her face and hands. She went to go get some herbs, and she was supposed to come back the same day. That was last 10 day, though. Wow. Thanks. My mum would like this. She's the best cook in the world. And she taught me too. I'll look for her. I think she'll probably come soon. Thanks a lot.
The place was empty. Keep those thugs away from my family.
Danuvia! Get these spotters out of my house now!
Arthur, sweetheart,
You paid me and my boys to be caravan guards, not cattle wranglers. If you want us to get our hands dirty, it'd be our pleasure. But that'll be extra.
Not if they're trying to help themselves to other people's property. I just want to remove these unlawful interlopers from my property.
My point exactly.
They're like kobolds. You let one in and soon the place will be crawling with them.
Ye gods, this guy is begging to get smacked.
This man's indignant demeanor barely masks a seething anxiety. There's more to this situation than he's letting on.
I'm a very magnanimous individual, but this is my home! Either they leave, or I'll make them. Either they leave, fine, they can stay. Just don't blame me when they turn on you like the mongrels they are.
I respect your hustle, sweetheart, but it won't work on me. You've stepped on the guild's toes, and we'd like a little something to make it better.
The Guild, a loose coalition unifying every criminal outfit in the city under one collective rule, from cut purses to contract killers.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Heartless scum. I'm a reasonable woman. We could easily work something out in a house this big.
Not quite sure why you stood up for us like that, but I won't say I'm not grateful. Thanks. And may Torm keep you. Same way lots of us did. Trying to get away from the army of the Absolute. If you had the chance to put a roof over your family's heads after being on the run for Torm knows how long, wouldn't you? We will stay. For now. I just hope he doesn't pay anyone else to come sniffing round. Thank you. And may Torm keep you. You're the first person in this city to have our backs. Thank you. Really.
Turn back, citizen. No passage in this direction. It's bloodier than a butcher's backyard out there. Piles of dead absolutists, and a few of our own as well. The cultists assaulted the gate, armed to the teeth trying to break in. They nearly had it too, before the Steel Watch intervened. A little more than that. You'll see for yourself soon enough if you head to the city.
Baldurians! Stand with me against this tide that threatens to overwhelm us.
Please just go home. You're ruining a perfectly uneventful posting with this nonsense.
The Flaming Fists are supposed to protect this good city, but they allow trash and vermin to take our homes and goods. Oh. Another visitor, I see. Listen, we keep letting the likes of you in. Soon, there'll be no room left for any of us true Baldurians. Excuse me? I was born inside the city walls, a Baldurian through and through. Wherever you're from, clearly they don't teach manners.
Oh, gods. Not another protester. Go talk to Nestor if you must. I've got plenty on my plate with these mewling geese.
Them over there? Refugees? Ha! Naught but a cover. I know what they really are. Dyed-in-the-wool agents of the Absolute. Mark my words. There's probably only a handful of rotten apples among them. Or, you know what they say about rot? It spreads quickly. Ruins the whole bunch.
Between you and me, I don't think there are enough flaming fists here for these refugees. Oh, no. You misunderstand. I mean, anyone could be among these refugees. Us Baldurians can't feel safe with so many of them roaming about without proper supervision.
Let's hope Archduke Gortash can make a difference.
Donations? Food, sundries, gold. These poor refugee sods need all the help they can get. Let's see what you've got. Thank you. I'm sure your contribution will be greatly appreciated.
We made it alive to Baldur's Gate. Almost, anyway. But I can't complain. When I look at Bex and realize she's safe, it's hard not to weep from joy.
We made it through hell, twice. I know now that as long as Danis and I stick together, we can do anything.
What do you make of these protesters? Really? Then we have nothing to say to each other.
What a sad situation. The once proud tieflings of Elturel, reduced to beggars.
I'm really worried about Umi. They got me signed up to learn to make pots, which is dumb. I'd rather learn how to kill cultists. And I bet you'd back me up on that.
Hail, friend. Fine day, isn't it? Forgive me, you're in no mood to talk about the weather. Your journey here was a hard one, no doubt. Is this your first time in Baldur's Gate? Is that so? Enigmatic soul, aren't you? A word of advice, then. You might not get as warm a welcome as in days gone by. Used to be you'd arrive knowing you'd a full belly and a warm bed waiting for you. Not anymore. These days, there's barely enough to go around. Add the refugees on top and, well, folk aren't feeling too generous. I've been asking myself the same question. I wouldn't be the first to interfere. Some well-to-dos in the city donated enough to see the newcomers right for the time being. Only they didn't bother helping everyone else. Locals going without while strangers feast. It stoked the fire, all right. Some Baldurians are kicking up a fuss round the front of the barn as we speak. If I wasn't wearing this uniform, I'd walk round there and teach them a lesson they'd never forget. Too bloody right. They've gone soft behind those walls, forgotten what it's like to struggle, living hand to mouth. I say we march round there and slit a few bellies, remind them how much worse things could be. What do you say? Mindless slaughter is the only answer.
Look at it, come crawling home, hands stained with the Bone Lord's soot. And you carry his stone. Have you lost your nerve, my blood-starved sibling? Oh, did I mangle your skull too terribly? I could end it now. But I'll be patient. Father will see us together again. He will see you bleed.
Fucking shapeshifter. She'll try to break our best asset, our trust. Fortunately, she's no match for our second best asset,
Me.
I have battled great evils, been mocked by villains of all sorts. But Orin, she is beyond even Thorm. Her mind is twisted beyond recognition. What is she capable of? And where will she strike next?
Orin's little display was just intended to rattle us. We mustn't let her succeed, but need to stay alert all the same.
Heads will roll for this. This transgression. This injustice. I don't give a shit about all that. It's how I've been treated, which is the real travesty. A perfectly respectable businessman wants to bring his, well, business into this fine city. And what do? They talk some absolute horse bollocks about papers and correct filing procedures and threw me in this slum. I should be loins deep in Sharess's caress by now, not waddling about in filth.
I thought that.
The dog seems wary, sniffing you intently. The dog sniffs your hand and seems more at ease.
No, I'm afraid I must insist you do not pet the hound.
My love, you can't keep being so rude to strangers. It's just a dog.
All the grabbing and touching startles poor Biscotti. I will not apologise for caring about my boy. Oh, trust me. Your eyes say it all. Everyone wants to pet him.
Some of us don't. Whatever the dog thinks, being here is much better than being out there. Right, my dear?
Well, the children can be a touch grabby, but... Yes. You're quite right, my darling. War is no place for a precious little baby like Biscotti after all.
I just lost a wager, thanks to you.
Who are you?
Someone who bet that you'd never be foolish enough to actually show your face in this city again. But here you are. And the gold in my purse is soon to take flight. There have been whispers about you, sister. About your faith, your loyalty, your company. I can't help but feel the strangest twinge of disgust as I look upon you. Is it true? Has Our Lady forsaken you?
I know the truth. I know my parents still live. Tell me where they are, and I have no quarrel with you.
I'm afraid the quarrel is unavoidable, thanks to you. Now I must report your reappearance. If you are intent on bringing matters to a head, then seek out the House of Grief in the lower city. Though, if I was you, I'd be very tempted to just forget it all and disappear. You have some form at doing so, after all.
Almost pleasant traveling with company. If you ignore all the less pleasant aspects. Then that's where we need to go. My parents are in there somewhere.
Dad says there's already too many refugees, and the city can't hold any more. We've got to keep them out.
Any of the refugees give you hassle, come to us. We know how to handle them.
Baldurian. Good. Lots of unfamiliar faces in the city these days.
Please, go ahead of us. My son is a little nervous.
Stinks of cheese. Between his piggy toes!
How dare you? What in the hells is all of this?
A necessity, good sir. The Steel Watch loves pretending sweet Rivington doesn't exist. So we have decided to protect you, dear patrons. No need to thank us. You'll be allowed in once I've done this batch. Next! Hello, hello, and welcome to the Circus of the Last Days, the finest extra-planar circus there is.
A circus! Can we go?
Oh, this is Benjamin. Say hi, Benji.
Meat!
Benji here checks all our patrons to make sure none of you are vicious murderers. Can't be too careful. But enough of this. The circus is a place of joy and distraction, so come inside and forget your worries. Not a problem, dear patron. Benji just has to check if you're a vicious murderer. Benji?
Ah! Blood! Tasty blood! So delicious!
Oh, well, that's a first. Usually I'd allow you in, but in these times, I can take no chances. Move along. No circus for you. No, if someone blows up, blame Akabi the Ginny. That's what I'd do. Welcome to the circus. A motley crew of misfits and morons. We're happy to have you.
Realize she is miming putting on face paints. She has them to sell.
Ah! Scummy ball bag! Move! My gots to clean!
Approach! Ugly one! Yes! Behold! Akabi's Wheel of Wonders! Spin! To win prizes beyond your tiny imagination and make your miserable life more bearable. Akabi has traveled across the plains, burning and conquering all. Win the spoils of such conquest. Or, if luck smiles upon you, win the grand prize, the jackpot. Let us see if you have luck's favor. Impossible! You thief! You cheated! Enjoy the jackpot, muley curd! Ah! How did the despicable cheater enjoy her vacation? Akabi is delighted you enjoyed it, repugnant mortal. Begone! Akabi is sick of you!
Darling, we have a customer. Is your camp drab? Dreary? Then you have come to the right place. Browse our bespoke, stony and bony creations. Or commission a statue in your likeness. It is our most sought-after service. Bony, at your service. That there is my darling wife, Stony. Is she not magnificent? To think she chose me. Why, I wake up every morning with a smile on my face. Now, what can I do for you? Oh, my wife shall be delighted. Customs are her favorite, particularly when their facial structure is as unique as yours. Tremendous! Stony, darling, let us put this towards our getaway in the Moonshay Isles. I'll have your statue shipped to your camp. You shall love it. We guarantee it. Ah, the adventurer returns. Care to purchase a bespoke, stony and bony creation? Oh, you shall be thrilled and delighted. I know it. Wondrous. My wife will be most pleased.
Oh, hungry little hobgoblin. Want a treato? I has lots of treatos, and magics, and junks I finds. Don't worry. I only takes junks from dead people. I is nice. Yes! I has lots of stuffs. Just for you. Bye-bye now. Come back to Papa soon.
Ah! Lucille! It's pose grapevine, then pivot step. Jacob, you have the grace of my great-grandmother's missing leg. Ah! And Boris. Boris! Put some sensuality into those lovely hip bones. I know you have it in you. Step it up. Interrupting a massacre? Merkel, help me. These three make the art of dance look like a ritual sacrifice. Call me Lucretius, ringmaster, necromancer, bringer of the night. Oh, and wine lover extraordinaire. Normally, I'd invite you into my tent for a lovely vintage, but these graceless skellies need my full attention. Enjoy my circus, darling.
Do not stand too close. The flames have a life of their own.
Mum won't let me touch the animals. Bet you don't have to ask your mum to pet a stupid cat.
Hey, maybe steer clear of the beasties. One of them is near Rabbit, and the other is looking at us like we're supper.
Another. Good. While the cage is sturdy, the lock is old. It could be jammed shut, so not even a key could open it.
My time comes. I will show you. All of you. Look. See. The crowd. They laugh. They shine with innocence. But it is a lie. Every one of you is vicious. Cruel. You kill my mate. Steal my cubs. I roar. Break my cage. And then you die. You all die!
Hunger. My stomach screams. Press your flesh through bars. And add blood breaks.
This city of stone and steel is an endless scream in nature's womb. I have felt no peace here. Until now, your eyes, Stira. There is pain, endless and deep, but also devotion, blazing like the sun. You're in love. Are you not? You are wise to admit it. When it comes to love, vulnerability is armor, truth a sword, and trust a shield. I pray you wield all three, Stira. Bring the one you love to me. I will look into your hearts and see if your love is eternal or doomed eternally.
Yes, yes, yes! Let's do it!
Close your eyes, little ones. Be still as stone to earth. And remember to breathe. I see you. I see the bond between you. So tender, so fragile. But do you see it for yourselves? Karlak. Her fire within can incinerate an enemy or warm a beloved. Listen. Think. Who does she loathe above all others?
Just the sound of his name makes my blood boil. Probably literally. Can't stand the fucker. Ding ding!
Hear how your bond thrums with pleasure. Strong, vital, pulsing with affection. Many things delight the heart, but only one makes it sing. Tell me, what is her idea of a perfect day?
You know me too well.
The sweetest loves dance lightly on the tongue, but they sag and suffer with age. The future brings many trials. A decade from now, what will the mighty Karlak do? Where will she be?
Kids, huh? I don't know. How about a really mean goat? But I don't know. Things can change, I guess. I've heard. You really know me, don't you? It's wild. In so many ways, we barely know each other. But where it counts, you're deeper in my head than that tadpole.
How close you are. Two hearts beating a perfect rhythm. But I know the truth. Only one face haunts your dreams each night. Close your eyes, sweetness, and she will come to you.
I see how you slither closer, belly dragging in the filth. Father,
You waste time soft-soothing these flesh bags for the knife.
do not worry, slaughterkin. My blades are still sharp and sweet. They will greet you soon enough.